Hello and welcome to this edition of Woman to Woman. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. I am the voice for those who suffer in silence. I'm so delighted today. I have here with me in the studio, Miss Danyell Lanier.
Hello, everybody.
So it is indeed a blessing to have you with us today. You've been on the platform with me before, but I wanted to bring you in just kind of as a follow-up, because today we're talking about loving ourselves and living in transparency. So we're going to try to bring all of this together because we know that you have some business to take care of out on the highway today. So I don't want to prolong it or hold you very long, but just go ahead and tell the people, our audience, who you are and what it is that you do.
Hello, everybody. I'm Danyell Lanier, and by day, I am just healthcare trainer. I work for an insurance company. I do systems training. After five, I am a community activist. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am a human Google system. So that's who I am, motivational speaker, consultant. I plan on launching actually my own consulting firm called More Than a Click, where I am able to just do what I've been doing my whole life with helping people, whether it's a resume, whether it's filling out just a job application, helping someone put together an outfit for a job interview, just kind of doing what I love and actually putting the business force behind that now. So I'm excited to be here, and I have been friends for over 30 years. So when I tell you I'm so proud of this sister right here, and anytime she asks me to do something, I'm like, okay, when? I am on my way to a funeral at this time, and she was like, I need you. I'm like, I'll be right there. That's what we guys do. So, bear with me,
Yeah.
guys. I am safe. I am not driving in any danger or anything like that. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, we appreciate you just fitting us in here. Yes, there is a long history. And throughout the years, we've seen each other evolve. And so that's why I kind of wanted to bring you on. When you were on with me early in the pandemic, early 2020, um, you were campaigning for
Yeah,
uh,
you
Congress, correct? A seat in Congress. So, how has things transpired? Because you came literally from the background to the forefront and just was kind of thrust out into this big arena. So, how has life evolved for you over the past, say, 18 months?
yeah, the congressional run was, whew, it was something to reckon with that. I'm gonna run again. I did not win, just to kind of put that out there. Mainly straight ticket voting within Oklahoma, but that was my second bid at running for public office. But the congressional level was definitely a beast within it itself. I learned a lot. It is tedious, but somebody has to do it. And for me, I'm like, okay, let me put that weight on my shoulders and be a voice as well for the everyday man, the everyday person, people that look like me, people that don't look like me. Just be a voice for the people because it's time. And that's always been my platform. I don't have any fancy schmancy spill about who I am or anything. I'm a veteran, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I am just like everybody else. And that is actually what our Congress should look like. It should look like everyday people that can tell you what a gallon of milk costs. What it
Absolutely.
takes, to run an everyday household. How that the fact that you've ever had to make a payment arrangement before, you've ever had to call and say, hey, I ain't got it. I get paid next Friday. I put something on it. Then that's because that's what our nation is made of. We have more people that need that assistance than we do people that are wealthy and out of touch with everyday people. So
Mhm.
that was also a part of me running for Congress was, just to circle back to that, my mom got sick. And with my mom living in Hugo, that was an eye opener because I had to take her to Paris and to Dallas to save her life.
Yeah,
We did not have the resources locally to treat somebody that had a massive stroke.
hmm,
I wanted my mom to walk again. I wanted her to survive that. And I wanted her to have the best care possible. That's no knock to the system that we have, but it's limited, it's overburdened.
absolutely,
And we
absolutely.
have to do something else. My mom is not Native American, so with that, if she's at Choctaw Memorial, if I didn't take her to Dallas, if I didn't take her to Paris to get her the things that she needed to make it back to where she is now. She's 83 years old and she can still drive. She still gets her nails done. She still is
Yeah,
feisty. So I wanted to be able to maintain that for as long as I can. And what burdened me with that is thinking about all the other moms out there, all the other family members out there that don't have a daughter like that just don't have
absolutely.
those resources to be able to do that. All they have is what we have.
And
And
Danielle,
unfortunately,
let's
it
just
don't
be
come back
clear.
from that.
Let's just be clear, Danielle, to our listeners out here. You were doing all of that while still showing up every day campaigning. I
Yeah.
mean, traveling on the road, uh, keeping even your household together because you have a young one, uh, two kids, but you have a young one
Right.
still at home, and so
Yes.
you're a wife, so you're having amongst all of this other stuff, keep it together. And let me also say that we're in Oklahoma,
Right.
so where you had to take your mom was across state lines.
Right.
So let's
No
just
state.
paint the picture there because the resources here, the closest city to us is across state lines, but it's still
Right.
2 or 3 hours away. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
where,
Yeah. Even home health care had to come from Greenville.
mhm,
So speech therapy, home health care, they had to come from Greenville to all the way to Hugo. And before I moved back home, I have a home in Faith. So we started out there, and my mom, unfortunately, I have stairs in my house, and my mom was like, once she got better, she was like, I want to go back to my own home.
mhm,
She was homesick, and I understood it, and I was like, the only way I'm gonna let you go back home, is that I know you can cook for yourself. I know you're comfortable still being independent, because the last thing I would ever want to do is take her independence away from her. So I
absolutely.
made sure we had home health care that was still able to maintain her speech therapy, her occupational therapy, and her physical therapy. So those ladies were driving from Greenville 3 times a week to come and make sure she was okay for 90 days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm grateful for that because I'm glad to
Mm.
see her up on her feet. And I saw her out with you on the campaign trail out there supporting you. And I know that that means a lot. But I want to even flip the switch just a little bit, just make a shift because I know you and I know that there's a backstory, but I also know that there's other um, pieces of your life that not a lot of people know about, but I want to kind of draw that transparency in because you're taking care of your mom. You're doing everything to live out your purpose and fulfill your dreams. And I see you doing that and you're evolving. But you are adopted, Danyelle.
Yeah.
You are adopted. This mom, your mom, she adopted you and you're caring for her and providing her with that love and making sure that she has the resources and things like that she has. Let's talk a little bit about how have you always known that you were adopted?
Yes. I found out I was adopted probably at the age of maybe 6 or 7. I was playing with my cousins, and you know how y'all get into it and start running the dozens on each other. And one of my cousins was like, "Well, you not even your mama. You not even really my real cousin. They had to go get you." And I'm like, "What?" So, as a child, you don't really understand that. You like, man, whatever, so it is. And I asked my mom, at like 6 or 7, and I'm like, did you have to go buy me from somewhere? So, as a little kid, that's your understanding. So and she was like, why? I was like, well, such and such said that you weren't my real mom. And that was painful for her. And I knew it was, because now we got to have a whole nother conversation past, do you want me to cut the crust off of your peanut butter and jelly sandwich now? So she broke it down for me in kids terms that, yes, your dad and I, we did, go get you. We've had you since you were like 3 months old, and we love you. And honestly, that was enough. At the time, that was absolutely enough. My family never made me feel like I was anything other than their cousin, anything other than their niece, anything. I always felt like everybody else. If the other cousins was getting cussed out and whooped for the cup coming up broke, I was right there getting whooped too. So it was never any discernment or anything with treating me different. Matter of fact, my brother is adopted. That was a tale in and of itself. They went back after they adopted me. They didn't want me to grow up by myself, because my brothers were older. So they went back, they got my brother. I'm biracial. I'm Black and Cherokee, but my brother is white and Black. So, but with him, the features are a lot more apparent. So with that, we're talking about rural Oklahoma in the 80s and in the 90s. We could go out to eat, and someone would come up to my mom and say, "Oh, what a cute little boy. Are you babysitting him?" And my mom is just not the one for that. The best way I can kind of describe that is, do you guys, everybody will remember back The Color Purple, back that scene where Miss Millie asked Sophia if she wanted to be her maid. And that was kind of what that was when you're talking about my mom, man. She was like, this is my son, and baby, that whole McDonald's was like,
absolutely.
Okay. So got them right on together. She was giving out them reads before it was popular.
Before we even have the term for it, wasn't it?
Exactly, right. So with that, as I got older, and I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm kind of going in some dark areas here.
It's okay.
But as I got older, things in my life began to change, where I really needed to know more about my birth family. And I'm gonna be very clear about that. Like, as I got older, now I'm becoming a woman, and I am dealing with medical issues. And I'm gonna be honest with this, where I would have very heavy periods. So I was like, what is that? And why? And I started to learn that these things are hereditary. The older I got, now I need to start thinking about breast exams. And I'm getting questions like, does cancer run in your family? And honestly, I'm like, I don't know. Friends at this time, they're having children, and these children are having chromosome issues. Absolutely. I hadn't had kids yet. So it's like, these are things that I had to think about, and that's just goes to the death of me, is that I'm like, I really would like to know more about who I am. So what I did was I put an ad in the paper in Tahlequah, and I explained my story. They published it. And this lady reached out, and she was like, I'm not your adoptive parents, but I know who you are. And she was like, you actually have 4 other sisters, and I raised them. And just, I was blown away with that. And she was like, I know who your family are. I'm going to get in touch with them and make sure it's okay to give you their information. And she did. She called me back like a week later. And I ended up driving up to Tahlequah. This is like 2002, 2003. I actually drove up there and got the opportunity to meet my grandmother, meet my aunts. And that is when, of course, I discovered that my birth mother was she had died. She died in 1986.
Mm-hmm.
So, they did their best to kind of explain that to me. She died a very violent death. So
Mm-hmm.
that was, it explained a lot of things for me. I got a chance to have a relationship with my actual birth sisters. And even though we never knew each other growing up, didn't know anything about each other, the blood doesn't lie.
Absolutely.
The blood
Absolutely.
does not lie.
Let
And
me
the
let me
souls
stop
be the same.
stop
Okay,
you,
go ahead.
or slow you down just a little bit, because I know that you're traveling and everything, but I just want to slow you down just a little bit, because I remember you sharing that with me back in the early
Mhm.
2000s when
Yes.
you located your birth family and shared with me the dynamics uh, of the events that led up to the passing of your mom.
Yes.
Uh, and so um, just take time to breathe and process all of this, because I can hear that conversation that you and I had, which was probably a little more intimate than what we're having
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
today.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
um, man, how did, from the time finding out you were adopted, and to me that's traumatizing by itself, having somebody
Yeah.
just blatantly make light of that, finding out you're adopted, then now we're up to 2002, you already have a child of your own, you're growing
Mhm.
into your own woman, set out for a career. Emotionally, what does that look like in that place?
Um, it looks like depression sometimes. It looks like overindulging in the wrong things. It looks like being emotional. It looks unbalanced. It's
Mhm.
exactly what it looks like, because as a brown girl, we aren't always given the tools. We don't get the opportunity to be sad. We
Mhm.
don't get to have the range of emotions, and the world comes to our aid, and gives us a hug and picks us up off the floor and tell us it's going to be okay. We live so much under the guise of this strong Black woman, like we're some oxen
Yeah.
or something, and we don't get the luxury to grieve, have emotions, or process things the way that we should.
Yeah.
So early on, that's what that looked like for me. And it wasn't until I really had to start coming to terms with some things, and most notably in my personal relationships,
Mhm.
is where hell was wide open.
Yeah.
Is the best way that I can describe that. I didn't know how to love. Most importantly,
Absolutely.
I didn't know how to love me, and I didn't know how to accept me, because I didn't realize that there was a part of me that was broken. That it was some things I needed to deal with that. And it wasn't until that relationship ended that it forced me to really go back and examine why I am so nonchalant.
Mhm. We did lose a little bit of audio on you there.
Letting things go and just kind of not caring, or why
Mhm.
do I act like I don't care?
Mhm.
And it was because, when you've had your heart broken by the people that you hold dearest, that's supposed to love you and be right there, and you don't have that, and you have to process through that. And that was something that I had to do. I had to go back. I had to forgive Lucy and Adair. I had to go back, because she didn't know any better. The woman was
Yeah.
19 years old. Girl, she's the
Absolutely.
girl. So I had to go back. I had to make peace with the parts of me that was broken. And once I was able to do that, it freed me from the things that bind. Once I was free from all of that, it allowed me to kind of move forward. And by this time, I'm like, okay, if there's a mama, there's a daddy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a mama, there is a daddy. And with that, I had to also come to terms once again with looking for him. And that, I tell you, has been a long journey. And I know I'm in the dark, so I'm going to hit my
That's
little
okay.
amplifier right
Hmm.
now. But definitely a long journey with that. And I have been looking for my birth father for many, many years. And it wasn't until 2 weeks ago when I got my ancestry.com results back that and we're still processing through it, that I was able to find my birth family. And what's crazy to
Awesome.
me is, go ahead.
I was just saying, awesome, Danyell. That is great news.
And this has been the thing. I've always had mutual friends with them on Facebook because they're in Tulsa and Muskogee.
Oh my goodness, girl. Danyell.
Seriously,
Now,
man.
God, oh my
Dang,
goodness, this is my
I
first
know,
hearing this. Oh my
I know,
goodness.
I know, I know. So with that, no, go ahead and go. So with that, it's been a travel, and right now, this is kind of the thing. I truly believe. How can I put this? All right, it was three brothers, and one of them is my father. Two of them are deceased.
Yes,
We
yes,
don't know who it is because more than likely my birth mother and him probably had a casual
yes,
relationship,
yes,
and that was honestly one of the things I had always taught my daughter, or tried to, but kids gonna be kids, is
yes,
that be really careful with who you laying down with.
mm-hmm,
You got a whole nother family out here that I don't even know who they are,
yeah,
that is blood related. So you got to be mindful of the people that you date. Not
yeah,
just that, I feel like I'm the product of a casual relationship because
mm,
obviously this man never even knew that he had created a life in this world. And I know that because I have three aunts that have basically embraced me, brought me in, and even right now talk to me about things that are going on. And it's a beautiful journey because they're like, okay, uh, welcome. They see my
wow,
picture. They're
yeah.
like, yeah, you one of us, you know.
Yeah, you look a lot like them. I remember seeing the pictures back in the
Yes,
early 2000s. You
yes,
look a lot like your family. So
they like,
similar.
yeah, they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
you one of us.
Yeah, so similar. I know I appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate you sharing that. And I know you got to go, so I want to just kind of wrap all of this up. You're in the thick of it right now. Still living out your purpose, dreaming, getting ready to put things together on top of the pandemic and the things that come along with that. Family members getting sick, now going out with the expectation of meeting uh, your biological paternal family, and I just think that is just so amazing. Um, what do you tell that woman right now that can relate to your story? That even that young man that may be listening, that knows that there's some pieces missing in their life, and they've been kind of hesitant about putting those pieces together. How has accepting the fact that you're adopted and the dynamics of that history there, how has that helped you emotionally in your relationships and uh, further giving you the fuel you need to pursue your dreams now that you're putting the pieces of your life together?
And when I tell you, it is liberating. Um, it ain't perfect, and that's the thing. I I I actually had to cry about this the other day because as people, all we have our imaginations, we have things that we think, movies set sometimes can set unrealistic
Yeah,
expectations for us. So, this whole time, like when I found them, I sent emails and I didn't know what else to say. I'm gonna keep it straight 100. I inboxed these people and I was like, my grandmother is still alive. I
mm,
inboxed these people and I'm like, hey, I know you don't hey, I know you don't know me, but I think I'm your granddaughter.
yeah,
Hey, I know you don't know me, but I think I'm your niece.
mm,
So, I know how we are as a community. As black people, we gotta huddle up first and we gotta
yeah,
talk about this and we gotta make sure this ain't a Nigerian scam. We
yeah,
gotta make sure that
yeah,
this is not a lunatic that we talking about here.
yes,
So I gave him a couple of days. I already knew that it was, it was gonna take some some time, because I've had family members. I have brothers too. I've had family members that pop up,
Yeah.
show up to the front door and be like, I think I'm kin to y'all. We look at that nose, them ears, and be like, yeah, come on in, mama, just cook, have a seat. So yeah, that visual DNA test.
Yes.
So that's kind of what it was. I sent them pictures of me. I'm sure they had to go through my Facebook and make sure I was sane,
Yes.
and then after that, she came back and was like, do you know which one, between Greg, Tim, and Michael, which one is your dad? I was like, nope, sure don't. So I'm gonna be very honest. That is where we at right now, where they are going through trying to analyze my baby pictures and
Yeah.
figure out which, who my father is. The unfortunate part to that is two of the three boys are deceased.
Yeah.
Only one is alive. So he's trying to, and this is the truth. We trying to ask a man
Yeah.
to go back 45 years ago and see if he remember meeting
Absolutely.
up with a young Indian woman. Now, what's funny to me about that, and I had to laugh and cry at the same time, and she was like, "Can you sing?" I was like, "No," and I've always wanted to. It's one of the only things I can't do. And
Yeah.
she was like, "Yeah, well, uh, Greg, that might have been a hard time for him doing because he was on tour with the Gap Band." So now we got a musician doing the 70s.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my
I
goodness.
was like, yeah, we may as well go on and we may as well go on and get it on up, give up the ghost. But
Yeah.
once COVID lifts, once COVID lifts and I get tested, honestly, once we, finish up with this funeral business, I get tested and make sure that I'm clear. I'm going to, and the weather gets better, I'm going to drive to Tulsa to go see her. Because
Awesome.
right now, I could never forgive myself if I brought COVID into her home.
Absolutely.
Couldn't do
Absolutely. So what encouragement do you have for someone that has a similar story to yours right now before we wrap up?
You are whole even if you are fractured, and you still have everything that you need inside of you to still push forward with your purpose. You don't let anything stop you. You can slow down, you can take a break. You might even can sit on the side of the road and rest, but you do not stop moving, whatever that looks like, whatever that dream is. Now, even though we look at there's a lot going on right now, is a magical time. If you ever wanted to go back to school, go back to school. If you ever wanted to try something new, try something new. All you can do is pass or fail, but at least you've tried. And
Absolutely.
I'm a living witness to that. I didn't graduate from high school and go finish my degree. I went to the military,
Absolutely.
and it took me 20 years later to get my degree. I never gave up. Might have been at a snail's pace, but I never gave up. And I'm grateful for my journey, no matter what it looks like, because it's mine.
Absolutely. Well, Danielle, we appreciate
So
you
yeah.
taking out the time to be here with us today and share. We're going to bring you back. So just be looking for the invite into
I
your
will.
email
I
or on
told
your
you.
phone. We want you back. We want to hear some more. Not only that, we want to hear the follow up on the journey to finally locating your paternal family as
Yes.
well. So, nonetheless, guys, we appreciate you being here with us for this edition of Woman to Woman. And until next time, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith.